Hello, Linda with TWC Pilates, and I'm going to do a little good morning wake up. This is perfect if you just want to move your body and get everything flowing. This morning I'm going to go skiing, and so I'm going to be using this as my ski warm up. I'm going to use a dynaband today. If you don't have one, then go get one because they're great, super versatile. But if you don't have one, then you would just do the movements without it, and I'll give you some options right there. So we're going to remain down on the mat today, and we're just going to begin sitting with your hands against your shins and just putting some tension of your hands pressing into your shins to get the sense of lifting and that engagement through your mid-back as you grow taller through your spine. So just really presencing yourself as you sit with the hands pressing to connecting to your back body. We often don't think about what's back there, but that is what's holding us up. So just falling into some breaths in through your nose, feeling that broadening across your collarbone, back nice and strong, and then exhale out. Inhale through your nose and exhale out. So typically on inhale, we expand. So as we inhale now, we're going to create a little expansion, shoulders down, chest up, hips open. And then exhale is the contraction. So finding that deep scoop. And again, inhale, broaden your collarbone, draw the shoulders down, lift your sternum towards the sky. And exhale, finding that nice deep belly scoop. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Now inhale, open. This time as you exhale round, we're just going to shift your arms to the back of your thighs so you can go down a little bit more, keeping your feet down. Coming up, inhale, open, exhale, round. Just feeling your body, feeling your spine, working in a range where the movement feels smooth and controlled. And we come down. And one more time, inhale, up. This time as you exhale, legs come together, your arms reach forward, and we roll all the way down onto the floor. Your knees are bent, your feet are planted, arms are long by your side, a little bit active. And we're just going to roll your pelvis up, reaching your knees over your toes. Take a breath in at the top. Exhale as you come down, open your throat. Let your sternum be heavy and soft. And again, just feeling your spine, just noticing if the movement feels smooth and steady. Or if the movement feels like there's, I call it 1, 2, skip a few, perhaps you're feeling like this, moving, and then, oh, there's a little bit of a tight spot. So just noticing that. So we're going to fix that. So we roll up through center. Now on this one, you're going to tip your pelvis to the right. So keeping that left side engaged. And then just roll down along the right side of your spine and focus on creating space between your ribs and pelvis. Stay tipped to the right as you scoop and roll. So using your abdominals to get a little more mobility through the back line and then to center. Keep your knees slightly drawn towards each other. Tip your pelvis to the left. Roll down on the left. Focus on creating space between your ribs and pelvis on the left side of your body. And again, as you exhale, find your core. Use your glutes so you can move your spine and come to center. Now I want you to picture those old typewriters where the carriage just moved right and left, and placing your hands on your ribs. And I just want you to laterally glide your ribs. You're keeping your pelvis and legs as still as possible, although there will be a little bit of motion. But what I want you to focus on is this lateral movement in the rib cage to the right and left. Now let your body come down just a couple of inches and then continue to just shift right and left. This is lovely. It's like a flossing that we're doing for the muscles on either side of your spine. And what we'll do after this is we'll do another roll up and down through center and see if you have any more ease of movement or more movement available to you. So I'm coming down a little bit lower and just moving through my ribs, mobilizing my spine on the opposite side. Come down a little bit lower. We're almost to the floor. Shifting the ribs. Again, your pelvis and legs will move in kind. We can't separate completely, but we really want to focus on that rib cage movement. And if you're finding that difficult, your chances are you're a little bit tight in through the back, and hopefully this will loosen that up. All right, just a couple more side to side as you come lower down. Pelvis is almost touching the mat, and then bring it to center and all the way down. Good. Now we're going to roll all the way up. And what there is to notice is, does the movement just feel smoother? Does it feel more supple, this motion through your spine? And then rolling down, do you find you come more down through the center of your spine and release? Good job. All right, so now lightly bring your left leg in towards you. Shoulders are relaxed. I'm applying a little bit of pressure of my shin into my hand and my hand into my shins. Want to make sure this knee is lined up from the center of my hip. So I'm going to press into my big toe on this right side, just enough to manage that and activate the inner thigh. And now we're going to roll up from here and roll back down. So now the focus, even though I'm still getting a little bit of spinal articulation, it's really more on activating the back line and getting that energy of your knee reaching over your toes. So now we're getting this hip and thigh extension. If your hamstrings get a little bit talking to you there and you feel like they're going to cramp, focus glutes. The hamstrings only cramp if the glutes aren't doing their job. So you want to really activate your glutes, especially the lower fibers of the buttocks, and that should settle the hamstring down. One more time. So while we're opening through the front line, we're activating the back. So in a lot of activities like hiking, if you're carrying a pack, let's change legs. Make sure this knee's lined up from the foot, big toe is pressed down, little bit of tension at the hand and shin against each other, and then just pressing. So as this knee comes this way, it emphasizes your left knee reaching over your toes. So yeah, hiking, cycling, skiing, all these different activities, we're pitched forward just a little bit, so it becomes very quad dominant. Also, if you're running, like if you love to trail run and you're running uphill, again, you pitch forward just a little bit. So we're often missing the hip extension and the glute activation. So for example, I skied a pretty solid day yesterday. Quads were tired. I went out for a walk and decided to go into a little canter and had a run. And it felt brand new because I was actually pushing off and activating the back body. But we still need that back body to be active when we're doing these sports where we're a little bit pitched forward. So waking the back line up is super important. Stretching through the front of thigh and then rolling back down. Great. Now you're going to bring your feet, ankles, and knees together, and you're going to take your arms out to a T. If you don't have space like me, I've got this lovely fireplace next door. Just bend your elbows. Now, moving from my pelvis, I'm going to rotate over to one side, and I want my left foot to come off the mat. So my knees, I'm trying to keep them stacked. So what happens is I get more length down the side of my body, and then I'm getting this beautiful diagonal line. So if you're tight in the shoulder and pecs, you might be feeling like, whoa, that's where you're focusing. Doesn't matter. Reach your top knee over the bottom knee. Breathe into the ribs, the side that's expanded. And then as you exhale, belly to spine to come back. Other side. So I want my top foot to come off the mat as I'm reaching the knee to stay in line with the bottom knee. And then I'm anchoring my opposite shoulder blade and shoulder down. Breathe into what's expanded. Exhale, belly to spine to come back. One more each side. Reaching the top knee over the toes. And I'm focusing on moving my pelvis away from my ribs. And then I contract belly to spine to come back. And then I go over the other side, reaching, noticing where I feel it. For me, I'm noticing more at the top of my pelvis and my QL. Again, the skiing being a little pitched forward, low back's feeling a little stiff today. And so just breathing into that and letting it go, letting it go, letting it go as you exhale. And then come back to center. Really nice. Now we're going to keep in a neutral pelvis. So let's just do a little tuck where you can feel your low back lengthen to the mat, pubic bone to belly button. and then just untuck where you can feel the space come into your low back without arching the ribs, but it's just you're more weighted on your pelvis. Let's do that again. A little tuck, sink belly to spine, and then an untuck. So we want to keep untucked. We're going to take the hands behind your head, interlock your fingers, elbows are open. We take a breath in, keeping the pelvis in what we call neutral. You're going to exhale from your sternum, you're lifting. Now your head is supported. You're not pushing your head forward. Notice the shape of this position is constant. And really what I'm thinking about doing is using my upper abdominals to press the lower ribs down. Now you'll get to a certain point where your pelvis wants to tuck. So I'm just going to have you pause there, reset your pelvis, so your pubic bone's forward, and then on your next exhale, just lift from your sternum, but 1 more inch, maintaining that neutral pelvis position, and then you come back down. Check, tuck and untuck. Take a breath in, exhale, focus on lifting right from here, so it's a thoracic flexion. You'll get to the point where your pelvis wants to come with you. You're simply going to reset your pelvis and lift just 1 more inch. Breath in and exhale to come down. Inhale, chin nod forward. Exhale, sternum lifts. Feel when the pelvis starts to come with you. Your low back will lengthen out to the mat because you're flexing in the spine, but what we don't want to do is engage the glutes and tuck. So that's where we reset the pelvis, we come up 1 more little bit, and then we come back down. 1 more time. Check your pelvis, reset, breath in, and exhale to lift. Head is fully supported. Reset your pelvis, breath in, and exhale. Go a little deeper and lift. Check that you're not leading with your chin. You're leading with your sternum and your head is coming along for the supported ride. And come all the way down. Good. We're going to roll onto our side. Take your bottom arm long. And we're just going to bring this top leg in front and extend the bottom leg out. I want to stack my pelvis here so that I've got this neutral position again between my ribs and pelvis. Take this hand, reach it out in front, and then flex the bottom leg. So I want to feel in my bottom leg that I'm more weighted on my thigh than on that greater trochanter. So I'm tipped slightly forward, or you can lift your pelvis and shift it back a little bit. Now the bottom leg is long, foot is flexed. I'm going to lift and lower, and lift and lower, lift and lower with the breath. Exhale. Inhale, and if you can keep your pelvis stacked in this position, in other words, keep this space open, that you're truly lifting from the inner thigh versus activating the obliques and the low back, and then lifting from there. So keeping the stack of the pelvis. And what you might notice is that you don't lift quite as high because we're only using the hips. So check the stack and we lift. Now hold it there, kick your foot forward and back. And forward and back, just to neutral, reaching the leg long, reaching from your inner thigh out your heel, maintaining that stacked position of your pelvis, and then hold it there and little lifts for 8, 7, 6, using your breath, 5. That's it, reaching from your inner thigh out your heel, finding that length and space in the body, and then bring it down. Bend your knees in. You want to have your hip and knee at about 45-degree angle. Your heels are lined up with your sits bone. Same thing. I want to get my pelvis back, so I call it a tilt. We want to stack your pelvis, and then we slightly tip forward. Keeping your heels together, energetically reach the top knee forward as you bring it up. Check your stack. And then lift it 1 more inch, just moving from the hip joint, keeping your pelvis still and lower down. Reach your knee forward as you lift. Notice my heels are staying together. Now on this pause, lighten this bottom leg up a little bit. There's a tendency to want to push into that leg, so cue that leg to be light and then lift the top leg just a little more, keeping your pelvis stacked and still, and then bring it down. Energetically reach the knee forward and lift. Check your position once again, light on the bottom leg, and just go a little deeper into your hips and bring it down. A lot of times when people have tight hips, maybe you have achy hips, often hips can be achy at night when we're sleeping. It's not that they're tight, it's that they're weak, and we actually need to start strengthening the legs. And so a lot of times with clients, when they come in and they're complaining about hip pain or pain in the back, referring down, we start strengthening, and they're like, but I feel like I want to stretch. Believe me, you start strengthening. We do need mobility for sure. I mean, if we're not assessing, we're guessing. So we always do an assessment, but strengthening has to be a part of it. We can't just stretch without bringing stability into the body. And then we come back down. Again, check your tilt, stack, and roll. Reach the knee forward and lift. Now hold it there and just little lifts, keeping your pelvis still. Want to get nice and connected here in that deep external hip rotators. So you feel a little bit of a squeeze in that side back hip. And we just lift for 3, using your breath. 2, if you've got that quiver, you know you're in the right neurological pathways. And 1, and bring it down. Good. Before we transition to the other side, come on to all fours. We're going to bring your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, but your knees are going to be a little bit wider than your feet. You're going to press your hands in towards your knees. So what I'm doing is I'm applying an isometric contraction here to activate my triceps, mid-back, and core. I want to keep that tension, curl my toes under, and I'm going to sit back and rock forward. So I'm actively pulling my hands towards my knees so that I get a sense of stability in my mid-back and in my abdominals. This is a primal movement. This is how babies learn how to crawl, as they start this rocking motion. But here we're providing some engagement through the triceps, mid-back, and abdominals to get this lovely connection of stability through the torso, which will allow us to move through our joints, right? So we stabilize in our masses, shoulder girdle and pelvis, and we mobilize our joints. So we want to have stability where we stay still, mobility in what moves. One more time, keep that tension of the hands pressing to the knees, and then we come forward. Bringing your knees and feet lined up, make sure your hands are still under your shoulders. You want to be in a straight line from your tail to the head as you push into the arms, draw your abdominals in. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, hover your knees, just a hover. Feel that your feet are staying centered, you're not letting the heels roll out, and you have this line of energy going out your tailbone, but also out the crown of your head. And then slowly lower down. Breath in. Push into your arms. Think about lifting and lengthening from tail to head. And as you exhale, belly to spine. Notice my back is not moving. I'm not rounding my back. I'm working on stability in my torso. So I'm focusing on engaging the muscles through my torso to help me stay still. And I press up and I hold for 4 with the breath. 2, 1, and down. Let's go one more time. And if you find this challenging on the wrist, do what you can. The only way to build wrist strength is to weight bear and load those bones. And so do what you can. Walk your hands forward, flatten the tops of your feet, and stretch back. Take a breath into your lateral ribs and exhale. Good. All right, so now we'll do the other side. So we're going to come onto our side. We start with the top leg in front. If you're not comfortable with your arm under your head, grab a pillow. And we want to make sure that our pelvis is stacked. Lift the bottom hip, come back so that you feel like you're more weighted on the thigh than the hip bone. And then reach this arm forward. So this is the one you want to keep checking in on the stacking of the pelvis. You're going to flex the bottom leg and lift just from the hip. As you lift, you want to really make sure that you're not trying to make the move too big and start to incorporate the low back We want to keep the pelvis stacked and lower. And what you'll find is when you use good form that you don't have to do as many reps. You get into that connection, you work deep, you work precise, but you're using only what's necessary to do the job. And then we come back down. Keep your thigh active, reach out through your heel, your leg is long. And then we come down. Check the stacking of the pelvis. Oh, see, I was off a little bit. And lift. And this time we're going to hold it up. Foot is flexed. We're going to kick it forward and back to neutral. Forward and back. Keeping that sense of energy from your inner thigh down a lengthened leg, reaching out your heel. Feeling the stack of your pelvis with every exhale. Your reminder as you breathe to drop in and just check your alignment. Now hold it here and we lift and lift. Feel the stack of the pelvis as you breathe up and up and exhale. If you've got that quiver, you know it's a thumbs up. You are in that right neurological pathway. So remember, brain moves muscle and muscle moves bone. So the brain, the nervous system is what's controlling the movement. So being in the right position, knowing what we're looking for, checking in, and then boom, we're there in that little quiver. Good, bring it down. Bend your knees, coming to about a 45-degree angle where you can sense your heels are lined up with your sits bones. Same thing, we want to tilt the pelvis, tailbone reaches back. We want to stack, make sure the top hip is stacked over the bottom hip, and we want to roll. Top knee is reaching over that bottom knee. Got my arm in front and I'm going to reach my knee forward as I lift, keeping my heels together. Check my stack and roll, and then I exhale and just lift a little more, keeping your pelvis perfectly still, and then bring it down. This is a great exercise to do against a wall. So when you're set up against a wall, your bottom ribs and your pelvis stay against the wall, and then you lift. And again, it's just often the range of motion is smaller than what we think it should be. So often people will lift really high and it's too much. The hip doesn't have that amount of rotation, so we have to compensate by moving other parts. So remember, less is more. Be precise in your motion. Reach the knee forward. We lift, check your stack and roll. How do I know my waist is light on the mat, but my ribs are down? I can feel the work back here and then down. Good. Reach the knee energetically forward as you lift. Feeling that stack and roll, checking. Good. Breathing and being in your body and down. This time we're going to hold it up. Reach it forward and lift, and little pulses. Up, up. That's it. Up with the breath for 4, 3, 2, and 1, and bring it all the way down. Lovely. We're going to come onto our back again, and your option will be to keep your feet on the mat. We're going to bring your right leg to tabletop, use your abdominals, left leg to tabletop. So what's important is your abdominals stay pulled in, neck stays relaxed. Then you know you've come to tabletop well. Your option is to keep your head down, but I would suggest a pillow behind your head. Take your hands, interlock your fingers behind your head, elbows wide, shoulders relaxed. Inhale, little chin nod forward. You're just getting your head set up so it's supported in this hammock. And exhale, you lift. Throat is open. Eyes are looking over the knees. You're going to exhale, extend one leg out. And exhale. Your toes are pointed to the same spot in space. So as I'm here, I'm looking from one toe down to the next. Exhale. And every time I exhale, I want to really focus on going deeper right here. Good. Now we can add rotation. So as I exhale, I take that whole same shape of my upper body and I rotate. And exhale. And exhale. Shoulders are relaxed. Good. Focusing on how my abdominals, my upper abdominals, are flexing my thoracic spine. So I'm not lifting from my forehead. The work is in my abdomen. And reach. And reach. One more each side. Exhale. 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 Bring it center and all the way down. I'm going to take my right leg extended out. I'm going to bring my left leg up and flex my foot. We're going to go into circles where we take the leg around and up. A modification would be to bend your knee and moving your hip this way, or you can take your band or towel behind your knee and support in that way. So we go around and up. It's like a drop and catch, focusing on the stability of your pelvis, and then we go the other way. We go inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more breath cycle, inhale and exhale. Good, and then bring it down. Then we'll take the other leg up, bend the knee, and bring it into tabletop. Now I'm just going to face the other way so that I don't hit the fireplace. And here we go, across midline. Inhale and exhale. Option, bend the knee. The movement's in the hip. If you're a little bit disconnected from the hip, you might catch yourself wanting to kick your leg out or move just in the lower leg. Focus on the hip. Slow the movement down. Feel your breath. And one more breath cycle this way. And change directions. And we go inhale and exhale and inhale. So we're differentiating stability of your pelvis from movement in the hip. Remembering what I said earlier, that we stabilize in our masses, shoulder girdle pelvis, and we mobilize in our joints. And one more breath cycle. And good. All right. So now we're going to bend our knees, bring our thighs into our chest. We're going to start to rock. Now keep your chin tucked in. Keep that nice belly scoop. Keeping your thighs still. Notice I'm not kicking my legs to create momentum. I'm using my abdominals and my breath. I roll to the bottom of my shoulder blades and then up to my pelvis. Rolling like a ball. Shoulders down, abdominals in. Nice and smooth. Inhale. Make sure you're keeping your chin down, your forehead forward, and you're just rolling on to your shoulder blades. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to balance. Good, and balance. Hold it. Shoulders relaxed. Hold it. Hold it. Now straighten your spine, hands through the back of your thighs, and lift your back. Nice and tall. Shoulders down, back strong, abdominals are in. Good, and then slowly place your feet down. So we're going to come into spine stretch forward. Your feet are about as far apart, as wide as the mat, and your arms are forward. Visualizing that you're sitting tall, stacked along a wall. We're going to peel forward one vertebra at a time. We take a breath in, and as you exhale, your forehead comes. As you peel forward, and then you reach from your low back and pelvis, not from the neck and shoulders. You breathe in. As you exhale, move from your pelvis first and then restack one vertebra at a time. Inhale. Picture each vertebra up and over, creating that space through your spine. Then reach from the lower back. Keep nice and open through the top of your body. As you exhale, your pelvis comes. Feel your sits bones down into the mat. Restack, restack, restack. Breathe in. And exhale. Each vertebra up and over and reach forward. Take a breath. Pelvis comes first. Restack bone by bone, feeling that strength of your spine. Broad through your collarbone. One more time. Up and over as you come forward. One vertebra at a time. Reach forward from the low back. Take a breath. Exhale. Use your abdominals to restack. Back is strong. And bring it all the way up. I'm going to take my arms to a T just because I have the wall, but your option is arms are straight. Bring your legs together. Sitting tall through your spine, we rotate, 2, 3, come back to center. And we rotate, 2, 3, come back to center. And inhale, inhale, think of spiraling up, getting taller through the breath. We go one more each way. And center, and center. Good. So now I'm going to grab my band and place it behind my feet. If your hip flexors or low back gets a little tight, you can either bend your knees or you can prop yourself up on a block or a pillow. We're just going to go into a little bit of upper body. So I pull, squeeze, pause, hold, and return. So the nice thing about a band, it's what we call a variable resistance, which means that the tension gets stronger the more you stretch the band, and then you want to control the return. To get more tension, you simply choke up a little tighter on the band, and to get less tension, of course, you would move the other way. Now hold it here. Think of broad collarbone, tummy is in. Check that you're not letting your ribs roll forward and that you're right on the sits bones, and just pulse, pulse. Your neck is nice and relaxed, so every once in a while you can just turn your head side to side, and we'll pulse 3, 2, 1, and extend. Good. Let's pull back and add 3 pulses. 3, 2, 1, and extend. Again, keeping your thighs nice and relaxed. Check that you're not gripping in the hips. If you are, just let them go, or again, bend your knees or prop yourself up and return. Sitting on a foam roller, that can help if you've got one nearby. And return one more time and pull 3, 2, 1, and return, taking the band off. I'm going to stay down low just because it helps with the camera angle of where I am, but you're welcome to do this standing as well. Shoulders are relaxed, arms out front, and we're just going to open and return. And open. I'm really focused on getting the back line engaged. So again, runners, hikers, skiers, cyclists, often we're forward, and really what we want to do is get the back strong. When I'm running uphill, I'm always thinking strong back or drive from my hips, right? It's easy to kind of get hunched forward, and instead we need that power of our spine. And so really keeping, even though you're pitched forward a little bit flexed at the hips, when you're running uphill or cycling, you still want a long, strong spine. Let's add our 3 pulses. 1, 2, 3, and return. And again, check that you're not getting tense through the neck and shoulders. If you are, just lower the arms a little bit, see if that helps. The other option is less tension. And we open 3, 2, 1, and forward. Good. And one more time. And 3, 2, 1, and forward. Awesome. So now we'll just take the band behind us. Good. Choke on it nice and tight, and we just press out. So a little tricep and deltoid activation, sitting tall through your spine. And again, just a reminder, you can do this standing, you can do this kneeling, you can sit up on a chair and do this. Let's add a little rotation. Why not? Press out, rotate, come back to center, and return. Press out, rotate with the breath, center, and return. So one of the goals we have is that we're moving our spine in all the directions that it's meant to move in. And so we need to now do lateral, and we need to do some extension. So let's add lateral here. So we're going to take it out. We're going to let this arm come overhead, and then center and in, and press out, and just a little lateral flexion, maintaining the tension on the band so your arm won't reach all the way overhead. If you want to do that, then just drop the band and just focus on the side stretch. And one more each side. Take it out, over, up, and one more. This might be uneven. I can't remember which side I started on. Some things never change, eh? And bring it in and stay. Good. So finishing with a little extension, and then we'll be all ready for our day. We're going to come down onto your stomach, and we're going to bring your forehands under your forehead. Legs are long. You want to pull your tummy in and gently press your pubic bone into the mat. Relax your shoulders. Now we want to keep the lower ribs on the mat and just focus on the thoracic extension. So take a breath in. We think shoulders down, abdominals in as part of our preparation. And then you're just going to hover. Now, I'm not thinking about my back arching. I'm still thinking lengthening from my spine through the crown of my head. My belly is pulled in, so there's no tension in the low back. My bottom ribs are glued to the mat. I'm gently drawing my shoulder blades down gently and reaching my elbows wide to the two side walls. And then I bring it down and relax. As I inhale, prepare, I check my setup, belly to spine, pubic bone to mat, shoulders are down. And then as I lift, I'm lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. Open your throat. And we want to watch that you're not tucking your chin, but instead all the energy is going long. Now hold this position. Take your right arm out. Take your left arm out. Thumbs to the ceiling, and we lift up and down. If this is causing tension in the neck, I just don't have a lot of room to my side, you can keep a straight arm or bend and just bring your arms lower down. So not so much overhead, and we lift and lower. Lift, shoulders down, abdominals in, 2 more, and 1. And we bring it down. Bring your hands by your side, sit your hips back, and just give a little stretch right there. So there is your good morning wake up, or good day wake up, or good evening wake up. Either way, it is just one that we target all the different muscles in the body. So thank you for watching. I hope that felt good for you, and we'll see you.